Okay, welcome back. Today I'm going to be just talking, going over a life update because it has been a while. Also answering some questions. I got lots of really good questions. I just want this video to be casual, kind of just like talking to your friends. So I'm going to try to answer as many questions as I can. There are a lot and I don't want this video to be too long, but I really wanted to start out with this question because I feel like it perfectly explains kind of like how I've been feeling, and I feel like it just expresses it well. So the question is, why don't you ever show us who you actually are? All we see is workouts, which of course are helpful, but what about Victoria? I feel that we don't know anything about you besides that you work out. So this is the question. I don't know if you can see it. It's probably pretty blurry. But I feel like this is a great question because I feel like I have been feeling this way as well with my social media presence and just connecting with everyone. And for a long time, I feel like I have mainly just been posting workouts and not really sharing anything from my life. I think posting workouts for me is a very safe thing. I can, put out stuff that is still going to be useful, but I don't have to actually necessarily show parts of who I really am through putting out workouts. And I think a part of me is still really apprehensive about showing up online because my life has changed so much in the last few years, and I think it's put me in a really vulnerable place. I also just think that I'm still very much figuring out who I am as a person. So I think it's hard for me to really show up and be who I am when I still don't really know who that is. For so long, I was very sure of who I was in a sense because I just viewed myself as being the other half or being a girlfriend, a wife, a part of a relationship, and that was kind of just who I was. I was just the other person. And for so long, I don't think I really took a step back and reflected on who I am, or I guess really getting to know myself as opposed to just who I was in a relationship versus who I am as an individual. And the last few years has really forced me to now face myself and kind of ask myself those questions and figure out who I am and what I want from life, what makes me happy, and who I am as an individual as opposed to just who I am in a relationship. And I think because I am still very much, figuring that out, I've been nervous about really sharing things about it online. But, it is a new year, and that's kind of something I wanted to focus on this year, is being able to show up. Even if I am still figuring things out, it's okay to be vulnerable and show up just how I am. And I guess then you will get to see, a different side of me as opposed to just, workouts that are very disconnected. And I'm kind of excited to be able to just connect further with people and let you guys into my life again, because I know I've been really closed off and guarded for a while. So that question just went on and on and on, but I felt like that was a good one to start with because that is really expresses really how I am feeling. And I'm just excited to let those guards down and kind of be able to show up online again and figure out who I am and be myself. Okay, next question is, what is your worst personality trait? So I feel like my worst personality trait would probably have to be the fact that I'm very stubborn, which can limit my ability to be able to see different point of views, to be able to try different things, and just understand people differently. Sometimes I can be a little bit closed-minded in a sense, just because I do get really stuck in my own ways and the way I view things. I think I have worked on being less stubborn over the years, but it's definitely something when I read that question, it was kind of the first thing that came to my head was the fact that I can be very stubborn. I don't think it's always a bad thing, but I think that there is a lot of room for improvement with that personality trait. Next question. Do you ever fully get over heartbreak? What was the process like for you? So I think when it comes to heartbreak or any kind of life experiences, it's not necessarily a black and white answer, whereas yes, you're over it, or yes, you're not. I think there's so many dimensions and layers that you go through with dealing with something like that, that your experience is going to be so different from anyone else's. I think for me, yes, I think eventually you do get over the heartbreak, in terms of the traumas or the implications that relationship had on you that might take longer to get over. So for me personally, I felt like grieving was the hardest part. Not only grieving, the loss of a relationship, but also grieving how I envisioned my future to be. I had a very clear vision of like kind of where my life was going to go, and I was very confident with that vision and that direction. And then all of a sudden it completely changed. So letting go of that was a really hard thing for me, especially because I don't handle change very well on a good day. So having to completely uproot and change my life and the future I kind of expected I was gonna have was something that took me a really, really long time to process and deal with. I think I'm still processing certain aspects. I think that initial feeling that that you feel when you first go through something, eventually that does get does get a lot less, and eventually you do feel so much better and you feel like you're back to yourself and you're functioning. But in terms of some of the residual things that you maybe are dealing with from the relationship, I think that can take longer. And I think your experience is going to be different than mine or different than anyone's. But yes, I think you can fully get over it. At least that intense feelings of what we describe heartbreak as. Thoughts or experience with Botox and fillers. So I don't have any experience with fillers. I have gotten Botox about 4 times and I like it. I get it right here and like right up here. So like mainly in this section, this area. I haven't paid too much thought to fillers. At one point I was contemplating maybe like getting it under my eye, just because my eyes do sit really deep in the sockets. I like to call them indented. But I feel like for me, I would be scared because even though it can be done really well, there is risk involved with any kind of procedure. And also I feel like if I start really nitpicking things on my face, then it's gonna just not be good for me. So Botox I feel like is good because it's just preventative. But again, I only get it like every 6 to 8 months. Starting, I guess, last year now. I'm gonna start trying to do it more consistently every 6 months to 8 months. But again, I don't wanna become hyper focused on, the cosmetic stuff, because I understand that like aging is gonna happen. My skin is gonna change. I am gonna get wrinkles. Obviously doing things to, keep your skin healthy and try to prevent those things. But at the end of the day, eventually I will have skin change, and I don't wanna get like too hard on myself about those things. But my thoughts are, to each their own. So if you enjoy getting those things, I think that's good. For me personally, I'll probably just stick with the Botox. The fillers kind of do still scare me. Again, I'm not good with change. I feel like if something like drastically changed my appearance, I wouldn't handle that very well. Okay, next question. How does your boyfriend feel about all those guys thirsting over you on Instagram? I am going through something similar and I'm curious to how y'all are handling it. Okay, I feel like this is a very good question, because I feel like pretty much anyone who, if they have any kind of social media platform, if they start dating, it's obviously something you kind of have to navigate around, because it is a different dynamic to a relationship that a lot of people don't necessarily have to deal with. So in terms of my boyfriend, at the start, it was something he wasn't 100% comfortable with, as I'm sure anyone would not feel 100% comfortable with, having like people DMing you and messaging you and things like that. But as our relationship progressed, and I feel like as he got to know me better, and like how I am as a person, my values, he started to have less concern for those things. And now we're at a point where like he doesn't even get bothered by any of those things. So I think just creating like that level of trust is definitely something to work on. I also, for myself, have had social media for quite a while. In my previous relationship, I had social media like for a long time as well. And I was always faithful in that relationship as well. So I think for me, it's just like, I know that like, that the messages come, but it's not like something I like am like, really reading or like indulging in those conversations or entertaining them. And honestly, I don't even get too much. I feel like, which is good. But I think it does depend on like the person. And I know I have some friends that get like crazy messages, but again, I feel like it's just understanding the dynamic, being understanding for your partner's perspective, because it is, challenging, navigating it together, and, setting clear boundaries on what that person feels comfortable with, and being open and transparent, and just continue to build the trust with that individual. And I think over time, as you continue to grow in your relationship and build that trust, it will become something that you will deal with less and less, at least from my perspective. Everyone is different, so it could be different, but I think just having open and honest communication with your partner about it is really good. Okay. Next question is, what was something you learned after going through a divorce? So I feel like this is a loaded question. I feel like I learned a lot. I learned a lot about myself, but the one thing that kind of comes to mind that I think I've realized and also acknowledged and learned is that it is very important to keep putting yourself first, even if you are in a relationship. And I don't mean that in a sense where you need to be selfish. But I think you still need to continue doing stuff you love, continue focusing on yourself and your career and what you want from life. I think it's very easy, especially if you are a person kind of similar to myself, where I really enjoy helping people and like seeing them grow and really helping them to get to a point where they want to get to. And I get a lot of self-gratification from seeing them succeed and like following their dreams. But I think it's important to also, while you're supporting someone else, to still focus on yourself and follow your own dreams, because I feel like that was the thing that I had to learn, was that it's very important for me to still focus on myself, follow my own dreams. I can still help and support somebody else while they follow theirs, but I still need to work on mine as well. So I think just, being mindful of the boundaries you set with yourself, and if you feel yourself like giving too much, to make sure that you still take time to give to yourself as well. Dream job. So I feel like the dream job would be to do what I'm doing, and to just continue to grow and become more successful at it. I would love to get Live Freely, which is my clothing brand, to be doing really, really well, and that to be like a focus of mine. I also would like to get my training app doing even better, and just be able to do the things I'm still doing, because they are the things I love to do and I'm passionate about. But just to a larger scale, where it's something that I can have a lot of financial security from and still make the kind of impact that I can hopefully make with those two brands in particular. So yeah. All right, we're gonna take a pause from the questions, and I wanted to dive into a little bit of a life update. So I haven't done one of these, and I guess it's probably been almost a year. Since that time, my sister and I have launched our brand Live Freely. So it is spelled LV Freely. We pronounce it as Live Freely. L standing for Laura, Victoria standing for me. So I feel like it kind of just embodied us, as well as like the meaning of the brand that we wanted it to. So we did launch in July, which was super exciting. It has been something that we have been working on for years. We didn't plan to be working on it while I was, going through divorce, and she was having a baby. Well, she was pregnant, then had a baby. So we definitely launched it at an interesting time, and during the process leading up to it, we had a lot of different obstacles we had to face and overcome. And I think sometimes I don't give myself enough credit, because not only was I going through a really like turmoil point in my life, but I was able to still continue on with this dream of making this business something. And same with my sister, she was going through this life change of becoming a mom, and she was still able to focus on, getting this brand to come to life. And ultimately we did launch, and it's going well. This is our first year in business, so it's definitely been a learning experience. I feel like everything we do, we're like, okay, I see what we did wrong. I know what we can do better, which I think is important. And I think the only way to really improve as business owners is to kind of go through those learning experiences and, trial and error, see what works, see what doesn't, make mistakes, and improve from there. So we have a lot of really exciting stuff coming this year. Last year, we basically just launched a few items. Just because, as a brand new business, that was kind of all we could financially afford. We do it all ourselves. Currently, my basement is turned into our warehouse. So, it is still a family-owned and operated business. It is just the two of us. That we do like the day-to-day operations and stuff. We have outsourced certain things, like the website. Obviously we didn't create that because neither of us have those kind of expertise, and photography, and we've had a company help us with our branding. So it has been really helpful to have different people helping us kind of create this and bring it to life. But we are excited to have a bunch of new things launching this upcoming year and to kind of make launches more frequent and have more exciting releases and things like that, because this first launch has been a lot longer of a time between the first and the second than we had anticipated. But again, we're still just learning and growing, and hopefully eventually this will continue to grow and blossom, and we'll keep following our dreams in terms of how we where we want this business to go and kind of where we envision it. But it's been a really fun experience, challenging, hard. I think I underestimated how difficult owning and running a business was, but it's been something that I love to do. I'm loving the experience with my sister, and I'm just excited to kind of see where things continue to go. So yeah, that was like the main thing that kind of happened in 2022. And I guess the other thing is that I've been switching up my training a little bit. I have been doing a lot of CrossFit. So I joined last year, I think it's like January. It's been a year. Yeah, it's been about a year since I started. And I've been consistently doing, 3 to 4 classes a week. I aim for at least 3. I'm still doing like my accessory work and like my quote unquote bodybuilding style training sessions on top of that. So I film those workouts. So if you follow me on Instagram, you probably see those workouts I do as well. But I've also been doing a whole different type of training that I'm absolutely really loving and enjoying, just because it is challenging me in so many different ways. It's made me focus so much more on just like becoming a stronger version of myself physically, fueling my body. And I finally have been able to put on some weight, which is great, because for a while there I had lost a lot of weight due to stress, and it has been a process to try to put weight back on and keep it on. So I feel like with this style of training and just training harder and just really focusing on fueling my body properly, I've been able to put on some muscle, put on some weight, and I just feel overall like a lot more confident in myself physically, just because I feel like I look healthier, I feel healthier, and that's something that's like very important to me. So that's another kind of update. What else? I still have my 2 Frenchies, Otis and Atlas. They're doing great. Otis is 6 and Atlas will be 5 in May, so they're getting a little bit older. I can't believe Otis is already 6. I've had him since he was just a little wee puppy, and I can't believe it's already been 6 years. It's crazy like how fast time goes. I feel like the last like 3 years is like a blur to me. So yeah, it's wild. And what else? Those are sort of like the main life updates. I haven't had a whole lot exciting happen. I'm still here in London. I'm still renting. I haven't been able to buy a house yet. That is something I would love to do in the near future, maybe in the next year or two, depending on kind of where I'm at financially and just like where things are going for me. The market here in Ontario has been insane. So I'm probably going to wait a little bit till I make that transition into purchasing a home and becoming a home buyer again. Right now I am renting, and I really like the townhouse I'm in. It's, it was obviously an adjustment going from owning a home to having to rent. And again, that was kind of where I go back on, dealing with the grieving, the things of the changes that you have to go through when, a relationship does break down and you're starting over with your life. But I have to remind myself to be grateful that I get to even have a place like this, and I'm able to do what I can do and live here. And it is still a really nice townhome, so I'm enjoying that. I do eventually want to get into a house, but I've stopped putting so much pressure on myself to have like these things figured out. So for a while I was just like putting a lot of pressure on myself to, have a home and have these things and have my life looking a certain way. Now that I'm 30 years old and my life looks completely different than how I envisioned it when I, like in the past, and how thinking, oh, when I'm 30, I thought I was going to have, 2 children by now and all these things. And I feel like life has just taken me on a different path, and I've had to accept that that's okay. And this is just where my life is now. And yeah, so this is where I'm at. And I would like to start vlogging a little bit more. That's another goal for 2023, is I really do want to open up more, become less guarded, be able to share more. I know this video is going to be all over the place, and I'm sorry, but I feel like it just keeps it more real when I'm just kind of blabbling on about stuff that's coming to mind. But that is something I would like to do, is be able to reconnect with people, share things, be more vulnerable. And, you know, obviously I'm still going to post my workouts. I love posting my workouts. I love that you guys do my workouts. It makes me feel happy when I get people that are like, oh, I have such a great workout. But I also feel like my impact should be greater than just being able to help you work out. I think I have a lot to say. I've gone through a lot of different life experiences, and I feel like sharing things is beneficial, not only to myself, because I feel like I get to learn when I'm talking and also get to open up, which is therapeutic in its way, but also just hopefully having some kind of positive impact on you, and also having, I don't know, giving you some kind of guidance or helping you, or maybe just making you feel not so alone with certain things. So I know I have said this a few times with YouTube, but I really would like to make this something that I prioritize, glad I can speak, in 2023, and make it something I continue to do. Whether it just being like little vlogs or just random little tidbits into my life. I think also because I live in London, there's not a lot going on. My life is very much like the same every single day. Sometimes I feel like it's very boring. So what am I going to vlog? What am I going to film? And I think even just like filming the smallest little bits is still better than not doing anything, and it still allows you to get to know me better, get to know, you know, things that are going on in my life, be a little bit more a part of the Live Freely business journey, and be able to see kind of like the stuff, the new launches, how things are going, and the stuff that we're excited about coming really, really soon. That's a lot of speaking. Okay, what else? I think that's pretty much it for Life to Update. And I feel like as the video progressed, I started to become more comfortable with the camera and felt like I could like come out of my shell a little bit more. At the start, I was like so weird filming again because it's been so long, and I rarely ever talk on my story. So I feel like this is weird. But let me answer a few more questions, and then let's just finish this video off. Okay, so I feel like this also ties into a Life Update, and how is your mental health lately? So my mental health has been a little crazy over the last couple years. As if you've probably followed me closely, or if you know me, you probably have picked up on. The last year I have been doing so much better. I'm feeling better mentally, physically. My anxiety's been better. My depression's been better. And I think sometimes this time of year I do struggle. January and February typically are like the hardest because it's dark, it's gloomy. I feel like leading up to Christmas, you're so excited, you see so much family, you had so much fun, and then you come to January and it's like, okay, back to reality. The weather's not nice. I'm not seeing all the people I love again right now, and it's just kind of all crashes down. And then I feel like because of that, I'm just exhausted and just dealing with sadness and emptiness. But I feel like because this is something I, you know, experience every year, I do have pretty good self-awareness of the fact that like, okay, it's January, it's February, this is probably gonna happen. So a couple things I have done this year is book a couple trips. So I haven't been able to really do that the last few years because of COVID. This year I'm taking advantage of going to visit my friend Miranda. So I'm gonna be going to Tampa in a few weeks, and I am gonna vlog that experience actually. I feel like that will be fun. And then I come back for basically a week, and then I leave again, and I'm going to Vegas with a couple of my girlfriends. So nothing like crazy. No, we're not doing anything crazy on these trips. It'll be more just like getting away, being able to, you know, have some sunshine. I'm still going to be doing work and stuff while I'm away, but it'll just be nice to have a change of scenery and also be able to spend time with my friends. And I mean, Miranda I don't see very often, so I always love when we get to have time together and spend time together. So I'm very excited about that. I think I'm just going to finish this video off with some intentions that I would like to set for myself moving forward for this year. So one is to continue working on myself. I still have a lot of things I need to work through. I still want to continue to become a better version of myself and figuring out exactly who I am, like I kind of did address at the beginning of the video. So that's one thing. I would like to share more of myself online. I would like to open back up, be less guarded, and let you back in to this component of my life and vlog, and hopefully be able to make some sort of an impact on here. And I would like Live Freely to continue growing. I'm excited for the launches that are going to be happening. I want to continue growing with my training business and help you learn about, you know, learn different type of fitness things, learn different workouts, try different workouts. And I feel like those are kind of the intentions. Oh yeah, and be happy. I just want to be happy with who I am, with what my life is like, and lessen the expectations I have on for things. Take some of the pressure off, because too much pressure is not good. Some pressure is good, too much is not good. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know if you want to see more of this style or kind of what do you want to see in the future, and I will talk to you next time.